Pirate and the Mermaid. Some years ago, a tall tower stood at the extreme end of the Cape of Marabata. The Christians called it Torre Blanquilla, the White Tower, and it was known to the Muslims as El Minar. All day long, the tower looked out at sea. At night, it was lulled to sleep by the murmur of the wind on the water. It was an ancient tower, whose walls were covered with gnarled vines. Scorpions hid between her stones, and evil Djinn gathered nearby at nightfall. This citadel was once the home of the pirate captain. His name was Las al-Behar. There's a seagull watching me right here. Las al-Behar was young, he was handsome, he was brave. He was a Muslim Corsair pirate. He was an expert navigator and an expert in that even more difficult art, that of commanding men. He had all kinds of men in his command: Christians, Muslims, Jews, European renegades, Berbers, Muslims, Arabs, Turks, Sub-Saharan Africans. All men served under Las al-Behar, and all men loved him and followed him across the sea. They would follow him to the ends of the earth. He was a true charismatic leader. Las al-Behar would stand for hours at the top of his tower up here, and would gaze out to sea, and he would divine its meaning, listen to it. He would watch the pattern of the wind on the waves, watch for patterns in the sky, and he would know what weather fronts were coming. He would know what prizes would appear over the horizon. He was kind of a magician in that sense. El-Behar's frigate was slender and light as a swallow. The oars of 100 Christian galley slaves made it skim swiftly over the waves. The ship was greatly feared because of the boldness of her sailors and her many cannons, each different from the other, which the pirate had captured from Christian vessels of various nationalities. But he rejected the love of Christian and Muslim alike. For his ship meant more to him than the beauty of women. He loved his ship, the companionship of his valiant warriors, and the glorious battles which were later to be celebrated in song and poetry. Above all, it was the sea that he loved. He loved her with so deep a passion that he could not live away from her, and he spoke to her as men speak to their sweethearts. His warriors would say that at the hour of prayer, he would turn his face from the holy city towards the ocean, and he would smile. One day, on the day of the sheep sacrifice, Las al-Behar, who was in the village of El Minar with his companions at arms, declined to go to Tangier for prayers. He did not want to hear the sermon of the Cadi and pray in the companion of the devout. "Go, if you want," he said to his men. "As for me, I shall rest here." He shut himself up in his tower. From there, he could contemplate the sea and the movement of the ships as they glided slowly over the horizon. The Sharqi, more breeze than wind, made the water dance in the warm summer light. The best sermon of the Cadi, thought Las al-Behar, could never equal the beauty of this scene. What prayer, be it ever so perfect, could equal the sweet murmur of the rippling waters? What on earth is as powerful as the sea which stretches from one shore of the world to the other? Oh, that the waves were a woman, that I might marry her, and the ocean a mosque in that I might pray. As these thoughts were running through his mind, a storm gathered in the west. It swept over the plains and the mountains and roared about the tower. The seagulls cried out in fright and flew away. Flocks of sheep ran frantically to their enclosures. The tempest lasted a day and a night. When the wind quietened down, Las al-Behar descended from his tower. On the narrow band of sand which lay between the rocks and the water, he saw a woman lying stretched out, white and cold. He approached closer. She must be a Christian, he said to himself. For her hair was the colour of new gold. He lifted her up and took her in his arms. Perhaps she is still alive. The woman opened her eyes. They were green eyes. Green as the algae which grows between the cracks on the rocks. She was a Babria, a Djinn, a female genie of the sea. Her beauty was magical, and al-Behar fell madly in love with her. He neglected his warriors for her sake. His pirates, his corsairs were all forgotten. He forgot his swift galley, his glory, and even his prayers to Allah. I love you more than anything on earth, he said. More than my life, more even than my own salvation. During the equinox, the furious sea gathered again. The sea hammered against the tower and threatened the village nearby. This ocean is going to smash our tower, said the pirate to his beloved. Don't you love her above all things? Said the mermaid. Aren't you constantly praising her force and her power? Don't you turn your head away from the direction of Mecca in order to gaze out at the sea? I am a daughter of the sea. I came to reward you for the love you bear her. Now, the sea calls me back. Farewell, Las al-Behar. You shall never see me again. Don't leave me, implored the pirate. Don't leave me, I beg of you. Without you, I shall never know happiness. Happiness, said the Djinn, belongs only to those who fear Allah and honor him. I must leave you. I dare not disobey the voice which calls me. But you may follow me if you wish. The Djinnia wandered off with the tide, and Las al-Behar followed her into the water. He followed her down into the murky depths of the sea and was never heard from again. It is said he sleeps underneath the mountain of Gibraltar, and he will not awaken until that day when men will be judged for their actions, and the earth will only be a shadow of a shadow of a shadow, which will finally disappear. For Allah is the Almighty One. Thank you for watching, my friends. That was the story of the pirate and the mermaid from this book, Pirate Utopias, Moorish Corsairs and European Renegades by Peter Lambourne Wilson. I'll put a link in the description. See you later.